Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And of course, joining me here on Monday, you know him, Jason Cameron. This guy is really taking load management to the nth degree. He's had 3 solid long weekends in a row, and he's trying for a fourth. He's taking a page right from Kawhi Leonard's book. Lionel Messi ain't got nothing on this guy. What do you got to say for yourself? Load management. There's a lot of people that are counting on you, and you're just not delivering. You're not coming through.
You know what? I understand what people expected me. I understand that. I got a massive burden on these wide shoulders of mine. I know. But I got to give it my all. You know what I mean? I got to give it 100%. And if I can't go, if I got a bad wheel, which I do, I guess I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it today. But guess what? I'll be there tomorrow.
Nice.
I'll be giving it my all tomorrow. So there you go.
Yeah, well, it's been tough. We've all missed you. Everyone's been asking about you lots, and haven't been able to give too many updates. So you'll be able to update everybody tomorrow. James was missing you. I went over to VPC to help him load, and then they ended up getting another guy to take over for that, and so then I could go back with my regular guy and. But yeah, everybody's been asking about you and inquiring. I checked in with Jeff today. He's still 2 weeks away from returning. He said he's still in a lot of pain, he said, and he's having a hard time struggling through. So a couple walking wounded there. Even our coordinator, Jenny, not 100% last week. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a walking wounded crew we got here.
Yeah, it has been. You know what? But people are just they're trying to give it their all, play hurt, as it were. But definitely, though, out of all of us, Jeff has to take his time coming back.
Yeah,
that's a real injury that he's got there. So there's no him rushing back. That's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, he said he's going to do some kind of lighter duties, I think, to start when he comes back. So I think that's what the doctor's recommending. So, which isn't easy. There's not a lot of light duties. So we'll see. But I'm glad he's on the mend. Hopefully he'll be 100% very soon. And enough of this load management. Let's get back at it. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. But can't wait to do this tonight. Great sports weekend as usual. Lots of fun things to watch and break down for us. We had the UFC back. We had in New Jersey. We had the NHL finally determining the combatants for the Stanley Cup Final. We've got great things to talk about. Let's get into talking about the NHL. The Oilers were finally able to dispatch the Dallas Stars in Game 6 last night with the 2-1 home win, and they came out of the gate pretty hard. Connor McDavid got a beautiful goal to start, and then he set up Zach Hyman with a beautiful goal as well. And then all of a sudden they were like, "Okay, we're up 2-0. We don't got to play anymore. We can just hold this lead." They got outshot 35-10. If Stuart Skinner doesn't stand on his head and play miraculous goaltending, they're going back to Dallas, and somehow they pulled out the win. It was the lowest amount of shots ever in NHL history to win a playoff game, 35-10, and they had 2 goals in the first 3 shots, and then they just decided, okay, we better play defense now. We're not going after it. And they almost lost, but amazingly enough, they were able to get the victory and move on to the final.
That's ballsy. Or they just go, you know what? We're gonna sit on this 2-0 lead. Like that's a crazy call, because I would never think that 2-0 is enough. to win a
No.
game, personally. And also, too, if you look at just the shots on net, 35-10, you would think, oh, so Dallas won the game. Like it would just be an immediate Dallas won that game. But the fact that Skinner, like you said, stood on his head and won them that and stole them that game was all credit to the goalie.
Yeah. He's been playing incredible since their coach sat him down for a couple games of the Canucks series, and ever since he came back, he's been just amazing. He's one of the main reasons why they are where they are, and he's been receiving a lot of criticism most of his career that he wasn't going to be able to win the big one. He wasn't consistent enough, and he's really proving a lot of doubters wrong. It's amazing to see a guy that has been so maligned be able to just suddenly be like a brick wall and just not giving up anything.
It seems like he took some of Silov's magic, from the Canucks series. It seems like that's what he did, and he took the challenge from his coach to be better, and he has been.
Yeah. The other thing that helped Edmonton win that series was they didn't give up one power play goal. I think they're on a 28 penalty killing streak going back to the Canucks series, and not allowing Dallas to even score one goal. I think Edmonton got 5 power play goals in the series. I think they were even on 5-on-5 or even situations, and but that penalty killing and the power play special teams really helped them win most of those games.
Yeah, it helped them catapult them, put them over the edge, and the fact that they were actually able to shut down the Stars' very effective power play for the entirety of the series, that's incredible work by the Oilers.
Yeah, most of Dallas's top stars that were doing things throughout the season and into the first couple rounds of the playoffs, they got stymied, they got shut down, and Edmonton is advancing. They play the Florida Panthers. The series starts on Saturday. Really long break. I think too long of a break. I think it's good to get these guys healed up and everything, but I think the NHL had just set that date. That's when we start, no matter what. And it's kind of weird. There's always that rust versus rest type of thing. Both teams are having about the same amount of time off. Florida gets one extra day, but I really wish they wouldn't wait this long.
It seems long, right? Because the Oilers played their last game when? Yesterday?
Just last night, yeah.
Just last night, so it's 6 days. Yeah, because their first game is still like it's after the NBA Finals, their first game, which is on Thursday, which is where I thought they would start, to be honest with you. So maybe it has more to do with the travel between the two teams. That's why they started it off later on, like in the beginning of the weekend, the next weekend. So maybe that's why they didn't.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, it should be a hell of a final. Florida has the experience because they were there last year, losing to Vegas in the final. All those guys chomping at the bit all year, really wanting to right that wrong and be able to bring home the cup. The series between Edmonton and Dallas didn't seem that nasty, which it can after you play in the same team night after night and into 5, 6, 7 game series. Usually there's quite a bit of roughing, a lot of pushing and shoving after every whistle. I didn't see that too much in this Dallas series, but I think this is going to be a whole different story in this final. I think guys are going to be really rough. This is going to be a war. Both teams are going to want to give everything they completely have to be able to capture the cup. So I think this is going to be a hell of a great series. I'm super excited. Keith, I don't know, Matthew Tkachuk is the captain for Florida, and this guy, just the way he plays, he's just he's so talented as well as so tough and rough, and I think he'll be a target as well as a guy that's going to be pushing that kind of action throughout the series.
Yeah, because he likes to get in your face,
Yeah.
likes to get you off your game, likes to get you mad. So he's definitely going to do all of those things, and he's going to be awesome on top of that. So the Oilers are going to have their hands full with this Florida Panthers team. That I'm going to say this: super surprised that they took out the Rangers in 6 games.
Yeah.
Very surprised with that.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah, that was quite the shock. I think if the Shesterkin doesn't play so well, I think they sweep the Rangers. But Shesterkin was really, really talented and good, and was able to win them a couple games. But yeah, this series should be great. As I mentioned, it goes Saturday, 5 o'clock Pacific puck drop. The next game is Monday, also 5 o'clock from Florida. And then they have an extra day off in between when they head back to Edmonton. So the first game in Edmonton is Thursday, June the 13th, and then Saturday, June the 15th for game 4, and then another extra day off as they go back and forth. They say that this is the longest traveling distance between any finals in NHL history. The one that was the longest before that was the Canucks against Boston in 2011, which really seemed to wear down both teams quite a bit. So yeah, I think we'll see the best games right off the bat, first 4 maybe, and then I think they're going to start wearing down after a long 2 months of this playoff run.
I would have to agree with you. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And they're just, those last couple of games are going to be a grind for both teams.
Yeah. It's hard to know how much of Canada is going to jump on the Oilers bandwagon now. The Oilers, they're a hard team to love because, constantly all year you're hoping they lose so the Canucks can, be ahead of them in the standings and have a better record and a better playoff spot. And so suddenly, and then we end up facing them in these playoffs. They beat us out, and so I don't know how many fans locally here have jumped on and cheering for them. I don't know about rest of the country, but it seems like it's really creating a movement. It's really starting to become Canada's team, and the lines are a little bit blurred from the rivalries that we normally have all through the year.
That's true. And you know what? It's our Canadian broadcasters that are actually pushing that narrative as well, or helping to, by always reiterating, it's been 30 years since a Canadian team has been in the final. 30 years, they keep repeating the same thing. So people are very aware of the fact that it's like, oh, we finally got one in there, eh? After 30 years. Okay, maybe I should pay attention a little bit more.
Yeah. I've unfortunately encountered a lot of Oilers fans that are respectful, and then I've encountered ones that are, complete jerks. And I could use a ton of really, really, really colorful language to let you know how I feel about some of these guys. And it's starting to irritate me. It's really making my skin crawl at times, seeing how disgusting some of these guys can be. And I don't mind a guy cheering and really getting up, but when he's turning around and pointing at everybody, in Dallas I saw this: you suck, you guys stink, you're horrible, what a bunch of losers, and saying stupid crap like that, like we're the best, kissing his logo on his jersey. And there's being a fan, and then there's being a total dick. And unfortunately, there's become too many of these Oilers fans out there that are really starting to bother me and bother a lot of fans around North America.
Here's the thing. When you do that here in Canada, that's one thing. But if you do that and take your act over to the States, well, man, I don't know if that's really the right idea, or it's going to be safe for you once you leave the stadium. You know what I mean? I would say to the Oilers fan, relax, enjoy the ride, and just be thankful that your team made it. because they just got past us, just barely.
Just
And
barely.
you're lucky that we didn't actually have our full complement of guys.
Yeah.
We didn't have Panther, we didn't have Demko, and our third string almost beat you.
Yeah.
So you're lucky.
Yeah.
And
No
you're
doubt.
welcome.
Yeah, I have a friend who lives in Edmonton, and I pretty much have to block him now from social media. He called the Vancouver fans. I think his comment was, "We're a bunch of douche canoes," and I'm like, "Okay, that's the last drop. That's it. I'm blocking you. I'm cutting you off." And yeah, it's getting a little personal. It's getting a little bad, and
Yeah.
so I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna put my heart and soul into cheering for the Oilers. I hope it's a great series, and whoever wins wins. The unfortunate part is if Florida does win, you probably walk out of the arena and you walk over about 2 or 3 blocks in each direction, and nobody around there will even know that there was a hockey game playing that night. In Edmonton, it's different. Every single person in the city knows what's going on and what's happening. So, in a way, it's better for the sport in a way if Edmonton wins, just because the immense patriotism and the immense desire that you see from the Canadian fans come out. I've seen other cities, other American cities have won, and there are a small core that love it, that celebrate and have an absolute amazing time, but the whole entire cities don't really get behind it like it in a Canadian market.
No, they don't, because hockey is not their favorite pastime. It's not their sport. They got a bunch of other sports that they can glue on to, they can follow, they want to follow. Yeah. And hockey is just not it. It's just not the sport down there in the States. So that's why you get a lot of people that are just like, oh, I didn't even know they were playing.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, that's going to be a phenomenal series. Can't wait. I guess we'll only be when we do next week's podcast, we'll only be into the halfway through the second game, so we'll be able to just talk about the first game and give some update scores. So a long time off. You mentioned the NBA a couple times there. They start on Thursday, and this is a Boston team that's been the preseason favorite. Everybody said Boston's going to go there, going to be there. Over the years, lately, it was always it's going to be the Cavaliers with LeBron, and it's going to be the Golden State Warriors, and they met year after year after year.
Mm-hmm.
In the West this year, it was completely different teams were at the top than normal. And Dallas comes in ranked number 5, dispatches some really great teams, and ends up in this final. This is a pretty historic run for Luka Doncic and this Mavericks organization. And I think this is going to be a hell of a great series. Boston is the favorite, and they're supposed to win. And if they don't, it'll be a complete massive disappointment. But the way Luka's playing, the way Kyrie's been playing, the way the rest of the starters and bench have been doing their complementary roles, I think this is going to be a hell of a great series that we're going to remember and talk about for decades and a long time to come.
Yeah, I think so too. I would feel more comfortable about Boston's chances if they had a healthy Porzingis.
Right.
Because then you could argue that between the two teams, they would have 5 of the best 7 players on the court.
Right.
They would have 5 of them. And then obviously Luka and Kyrie being for Dallas. But now that Porzingis is huge question mark. Yeah. We don't know what his status is. He might not even be available for the entire finals. That's a great thing for the Mavericks. Yeah. It gets them that much closer.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. I noticed this today. This blew my mind. Luka Doncic in the playoffs is leading in almost every single solitary category. Points, rebounds, assists, steals, 3-pointers, field goals, free throws, and minutes. Like, How remarkable. I don't know how many more categories there are, but it's pretty slim pickings after that 8 that I did there. And holy crap. This is a historic run where maybe he's the second best player in the world now. Maybe behind the Joker. And this is a meteoric rise. It's a guy that, a lot of people have said, wow, he's the next one, but he's taken it just even to another level recently on this run.
Oh yeah, he definitely has, because if you remember that first round, he was definitely injured.
Yeah.
And I think he's still hurt.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that progressively as he's gone along, he's actually been somewhat recovering and getting better.
Yeah.
So which if you think about that, the fact that he was banged up, the fact that he was definitely not 100%, and he's still doing everything that you just mentioned, it's an absolutely incredible run.
Yeah.
Incredible.
If Dallas wins, MVP for sure for him, and this team, will remember him in like Dirk Nowitzki kind of category, and he'll be always loved and welcomed back with open arms. Kyrie, on the other hand, has come in. It was pretty controversial. His acquisition last year didn't work out. They missed the playoffs, but this year he's been able to shut his mouth and take on such a great complimentary role. And when he needs to take over, he does so. And he's been spectacular. This is actually the third time that he will be facing the Boston Celtics in a playoff series since he left Boston for Brooklyn. And so it's not new to him, but I think it's still something that he wants to prove wrong, that it didn't it should have worked out better there for him. And I think if it did, he might still have stayed there. And so I think there's still a chip on his shoulder with this, and it might help him elevate his level even more.
If he can play how he did against, quote unquote, the best defense of the NBA, like he did against the Timberwolves, right, I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
But he's going to have a challenging time because you're going up against Derek White, one of the best shot blocking guards in the association, and Drew Holiday. We all know how good Drew Holiday is on defense. So he's going to have his work cut out for him. Yeah. And then Luka himself is just going to, he's just a completely different ball of problems for the Boston Celtics, because he's got the size. Once you get behind him, he gets you on his hip. Then what are you going to do? Because now you're in jail. And it's going to be very difficult for them to figure out Luka, because whatever they throw at him defensively, he's going to figure out, and he will pick it apart because he's that good.
So who do you think is going to be predominantly the guy that covers Luka? Who do you think Boston's going to decide to utilize for the try to get him the most matchups against?
Okay. I think Derek White's too small. I think Luka will just punish him in the post. I think it'll probably be Jaylen Brown. I think it'll be a mix of Jaylen Brown and Tatum, but I think more Brown than anything else. Okay. Because I think he has the strength and the athleticism to at least make it hard for Luka.
Yeah.
Because that's about all you can do with that guy. Just you got to make him work and make it hard.
And so then Drew Holiday on Kyrie.
Yep, I would say so. Drew Holiday and Derek White going back and forth between them. And then those guys, those three, and Tatum, obviously, picking their spots on when to double team. Right. Both of those guys. And they're going to have to do hard doubles at those guys throughout the course of the series. They can't just leave them alone. Yeah. Definitely can't do that.
So what's your prediction?
Man, you know what? I'm still going with Boston because I believe they still have the better team, even with Porzingis being out. But yeah, you really can't count out Luka. That guy is amazing, and he's shown it time and time again. So I'll say Boston in 6.
Okay. I've never been a fan of Kyrie, but I'm such a fan of Luca that I think I'm leaning towards the Mavs. I think I'm cheering for them actually. Um, I I would love it. I would love it if they just pulled off this huge upset and won this. If I was a betting man, I think the smart money's on Boston, just more of a complete team. You broke down many aspects that they have. Um, we'll see if Porzingis can come back. He is also a former Mav as well, and that might give him a little bit of extra incentive to come back and play really well. I doubt that he'll be out for the entire series. I doubt it. So we might see him, but who knows if he's going to be able to be 100%. So, but yeah, I think this is going to be a heck of a series. I'm super excited about it. As I mentioned, Thursday, first game. Sunday is second game. So they're putting an extra day in between these early games. So they go Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. Then there's only the one day between game 3 and 4. Game 4 goes Friday, and then it won't go until Monday if there's a possible game 5, game 6, June 20th. So yeah, Boston first 2 games, Dallas the second 2, and yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I wish it was tomorrow, but we got to wait till Thursday.
Yeah, I wish it was tomorrow too. I am super looking forward to this because it's a very unique matchup, and it's something that we didn't expect, at least coming out of the West. I don't think anybody had, unless you're a diehard Mavericks fan, had the Mavericks in the finals. I don't think
No,
anybody else had that.
yeah, you're right. They definitely did not, and yeah, it's amazing. Quite the run they've been on, and yeah, let's hope they can make an incredible series out of it. A bit of tough news from the NBA today. Just found out that Alonzo Mourning, the Hall of Fame forward, had to undergo surgery to remove his prostate after he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. They caught it at stage 3, luckily, and were able to completely get rid of the cancer. He is recovering. He's only 54 years old, 15-year veteran, NBA Hall of Famer, champion, but has had to go through this. He just divulged the news today. And yeah, our prayers and thoughts are with him. Hopefully, the doctors have been able to completely get rid of this cancer, and he's on the road to recovery. He can, yeah, resume his life as normal very, very soon.
Yeah. I hope that he can do all of those things, because if there's one thing about Alonzo Mourning, even up to this day, that guy keeps himself in impeccable shape.
Amazing shape, yeah.
Absolutely amazing shape. So I hope that he has a speedy recovery.
Yeah. It's a bit of a historic day in the NFL today. Justin Jefferson agreed to an extension with the Minnesota Vikings that makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. $140 million for a 4-year deal. So $35 million a year, and 110 million guaranteed. And as soon as he signs the contract this week, they hand him a check for $88.75 million. So pretty nice. That I hope he holds the check up and people take pictures of it, because that's a historic check to get for signing your name on a contract. That's pretty spectacular. Yeah, so now it looks like he'll be a Viking through the 2028 season, and they're very lucky that they have him. He's had an absolutely incredible career already, and he was able to turn down contract extension last year that would have paid him about 28 million a year. Bet on himself, had another great year, and now he's getting 35 a year.
Makes sense for him because he knows how good he is.
Yeah.
And also, too, no brainer for the Vikings because you don't let a talent like that just go, you know what? A little pricey. I don't know if you want to pay. No, you pay that dude.
Yeah.
You pay that dude because that's a surefire Hall of Famer going forward. So
we'll see how much impact he can have. No Kirk Cousins. Now they got Sam Darnold, who hasn't been great, and JJ McCarthy, who's their draft pick rookie coming in. You go from Kirk Cousins to Sam Darnold. Might be difficult to put up the kind of numbers that he's used to.
It might be difficult, but you know what? I think he's talented enough that he's still going to catch a lot of balls. He's still gonna do awesome Justin Jefferson things.
Yeah.
It's just that he may have to try a little bit harder for some of the balls because at least him and Cousin had rapport where he liked the ball, where he likes to catch the ball, and him and Darnold still have to work out that. So
yeah. He holds a lot of records already in the NFL, but this record, the highest paid non-quarterback NFL history, just surpassed Nick Bosa, the pass rusher from the San Francisco 49ers. He averages a little less than 34 million a year, so that takes care of that. This seriously blows away the top guaranteed salary ever for a wide receiver. As I mentioned earlier, it's 110 million. That's 26 million more than the 84 million AJ Brown got from Philly. Amon-Ra St. Brown from Detroit got 77 million guaranteed, and Jalen Waddle had 76. So the 110 is pretty historic. He was drafted number 22 overall, and he could go down as one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. He's had a chip on his shoulder ever since, saying 21 organizations really effed up, and I'm going to prove to them that they should have called my name, and they didn't, and he still goes out there. We know a lot of players that do that, and he's really delivered on an incredible draft pick by them.
Yeah, he has delivered. He's delivered in every sort of shape and fashion, and he's just been absolutely amazing. But you know what? The great ones always do.
Yeah.
The great ones always find something where it's just like, you know what? I'm pissed. I'm super pissed, and I'm going to show you that I'm so good that you screwed up. Because there's a certain quarterback that did that. I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. I still can't. That guy still gives me nightmares. Still gives me nightmares with my Falcon. So whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. His career numbers are 392 catches for 5,900 yards and 30 touchdowns. He has set NFL records for the most receiving yards over his first 3 seasons of his career, which was 4,825 yards. And he still got 1,000 yards last year, and he only played in 10 games, and he missed parts of 2 others as well with some injuries. That's the only NFL player in history that's got 1,000 yards playing in only 10 games. He also has an NFL record for yards per game, 98.3 yards per game, and his 6.5 catches per game is second highest in NFL history. And when Minnesota decided to move on from Stephon Diggs and traded him to Buffalo, I think a lot of people were like, "Uh-oh, we're going into rebuild mode. Why would we get rid of such an electric guy?" And then boom, he steps in right away, filled those shoes, and even more.
Oh yeah, I think management knew what they had with Justin Jefferson, so I think they were very comfortable with going, "Oh well, it's too bad, but we're gonna have to say goodbye to you because we got this young stud here that's gonna be awesome, so we're gonna be fine."
Yeah, amazing what happened there. Okay. I talked about the NFL. I mean NBA, and I mentioned that there was some good stories, and then we had a little bit of a bad story with Alonzo Mourning having to undergo surgery for cancer. I had a good story about Justin Jefferson getting some serious dollars, and now we got a little bit of a sad note from the NFL. The Hall of Fame offensive lineman Larry Allen has died. He spent majority of his career in Dallas. He was on vacation with his family down in Mexico this weekend and had some type of cardiac arrest and passed away. He was only 52 years old. Many people thought he was kind of immortal. This is one of the biggest human beings that you're ever going to see. So athletic, so powerful, so fast for such a big guy. And he was stabbed 12 times in an incident when he was a young guy. In a fight, trying to protect his brother. He was stabbed 12 times and he lived. And unfortunately, his heart gave out, I guess, this weekend. And everyone in the NFL family and community is sending their condolences, and a lot of shock around the Dallas Cowboys family. 52 years old, still a guy that keeps in a lot of contact with his former teammates, and all of a sudden, just suddenly, he's gone.
Yeah, it's sad. Sad day, because I want to say Larry Allen was a Hall of Famer, right?
Yep, it was.
Yeah, definitely, because he was one of the best offensive linemen I think the NFL's ever seen, because he was just a genetic specimen.
Yeah,
he was like an athletic freak of nature.
incredible.
On every sort of calculation you could ever put out there.
Yeah.
I think I've seen this guy bench press more weight than I could ever even imagine. But was it 600, 700?
700 pounds he bench pressed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's times where I saw like replays, highlights of where he'd block a guy, but he wouldn't just block him, he'd pancake him. Yeah. Pancake him on the ground, and then that guy's not moving anymore. It's over. It's done. Like, he was absolutely incredible.
He was amazing. I remember seeing him chase down a guy off an interception. This is a massive man. The speed, the athleticism, the strength that he possessed. He was an 11-time Pro Bowler. He won the Super Bowl in '95 with the Cowboys. Played with Dallas from '94 to 2005. His last 2 seasons were with the Niners in San Francisco. And he was such a protector of Troy Aikman, Tony Romo, the Dallas quarterbacks when he was on that line. He is named one of the top 100 players of all time in NFL history, and he was named to the all-decade team in the 90s and the 2000s, and he's just one of 3 guys that holds that distinction. Warren Sapp and Willie Rowe for the only other 2 guys that were all-decade team, the 90s and the 2000s. This is a guy that just is honestly one of the greatest offensive linemen to ever walk the face of the earth. And I was hoping for a very long life for him and being able to celebrate such a very historic career.
Yeah. So I would have loved to have seen that too as well. Just gone too early, far too early, and it's a shame. But man, did he give us some highlights. He was a fantastic NFL player, and he'll be sorely missed.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, here in Canada this past weekend, we had a historic Canadian Open held in Hamilton, Ontario. Last year, Nick Taylor hit the 72-yard or 72-foot putt that won him the tournament, ending a 68-year drought for Canadians to win the tournament here on our home soil. This year, we had a record 28 Canadians made it into the tournament, and Mackenzie Hughes actually grew up about 10 minutes away from this course, and he had a phenomenal first few rounds. He came into Sunday down, I think he was down 4 shots to start the day. After the 3rd hole, he was leading the tournament, and it was like, oh my God, these fans just started getting louder and louder, cheering, getting so into it. Unfortunately, something happened. His game fell off a little bit, and he fell down the leaderboard. This guy, Robert McIntyre from Scotland, shot up the leaderboard and won the tournament with an absolutely blistering final Sunday. And the cool thing was, this was his first ever PGA Tour win, and his dad was his caddy. He called his dad last weekend and said, "Hey, Dad, I need a caddy. What do you think?" His dad said, "I don't think I can get the time off of work. Probably not going to be able to make it." And he goes, "What? Come on! I need you." And he's like, "All right, well, let me check." And so luckily his boss gave him time off of work, and he flew into Canada. They teamed up together and won it. And it was a special moment to see him hug his dad. There was tears between both of them. They were choking up as they were talking to the reporter after the win about how much it meant to them. And it was pretty cool. Yeah, Canadian didn't win, so it wasn't, as great as it was last year, but it was pretty neat to see this Scottish guy win his first ever PGA tournament, especially with his old man on the bag.
All credit to the old man's boss saying, "You know what? Go ahead. Go for it. You can take a couple of days off, but I'm going to need you back to work on Monday."
Insane, eh? Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely awesome. It is such a great story, man. Like I love stories like that where just the stars aligned. They were able to get this done, and then all of a sudden he has one of the best rounds he's probably ever had in his life to shoot up the rankings like he did and win the tournament. So kudos to him.
Yeah. I talked to my dad this evening on my way home from work, and he said that Robert had talked to some reporters earlier in the week and said that he was getting pretty disillusioned with the PGA Tour. He said he joined on this year, and he was not welcomed by anybody, was not asked to go for dinner or beers with guys after. He said everyone was kind of just treating him like he's a competitor, don't want to be nice to him, don't want to talk to him, don't want to know him. And he said it was really not the way that he's used to golf. He plays on the DP World Tour, which is in Europe. They go around the world and play tournaments all over. He said, yeah, on the course we're competitive with each other, but as soon as the rounds are done, it's like, hey, let's toss back a few bevies. Let's go have some dinner. Let's have some fun. And he said it hasn't been like that over here on the PGA Tour. And this might be a guy that the Live Golf Tour might go after as well, because he hasn't had a good experience other than winning this tournament. He almost said, I almost just decided to go back to Scotland and say, I'm not going to bother. I'm not enjoying it. I'm homesick. I'm not having fun here. And Liv might be able to take this as an opportunity to seize a guy that's, a real up and comer and get him on, because it's fun on the Live Tour. Everybody's having fun. And it might just be a perfect candidate.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like he is a perfect candidate, because if there's one thing that Liv has done that's been very smart, is they've developed a culture of fun.
Yeah.
Whereas the PGA Tour is staunch and steeped in tradition and so it's not as much fun. And this guy, golfers play to have fun. I think any professional athlete plays because it's fun to do.
Yeah.
So if Liv can actually sell it more like, oh, you're gonna have fun with us. I don't know about the PGA, but you're gonna have fun with us if you play with us. I think a lot of younger guys will be like, maybe I should go over to there.
Yeah.
Play with them.
The other aspect of Live that's great is you actually have 3 other teammates. They have teams of 4, so you are going to have that interaction. You're going to have guys cheering for you, trying to help you help their team win the money and win the prizes that they get. That's another aspect of it. And you get to play in a lot of places around the world. It's not just usually PGA is almost always North America. And so, yeah, I think, Liv would be smart to try to attract him right now and see. This tournament win actually got him qualified for a few of the bigger events through the year. The US Open, he said he was going to have to go and qualify for that. Now he's in. Some of these signature events that the PGA's put on this year, he's qualified for them. And one is this coming weekend. And they said, hey, congratulations, you made it into the Memorial. How excited are you? And he said, not at all. I'm not going to Memorial. I'm going home to party with my boys. I am going to drink a lot of beer, and I am heading out. Me and my old man are going. We're partying now. And they were shocked because this purse on this weekend was 9.4 million for the entire purse. It's 20 million this coming week for this tour, and as a limited field. He probably could have cashed a big check, and he said, I don't care. I'm going home to party and celebrate this victory.
You know what? I don't see anything wrong with that.
No,
because like this was a completely unexpected turn of events for him.
Yeah.
It's obviously life-changing, and he should celebrate it. He should celebrate it with one of his most important people, which is with his father. So yeah. All good.
No, it's so great. As I mentioned, Mackenzie Hughes was up there. He ended up falling down, and he ended up in a tie for 7th place. Our top Canadian was Corey Connors. He finished in 6th place. We got Ben Griffin. He ended up 2nd. Rory McIlroy was tied for 4th. McIlroy's won this Canadian Open a couple times. Flirted at the top of the leaderboard at times over the weekend, but wasn't able to get it done. Nick Taylor, last year's winner, missed the cut, unfortunately, this year. And so did Adam Hadwin. So no chance of Hadwin getting tackled by a security guard this time. He was gone before the weekend happened. Our guy Taylor Penrith from Abbotsford, BC, he finished tied for 21st. So it was fun. It was amazing to watch and really enjoyable tournament, and great to see this McIntyre win. I expect some really good things from him. He played some absolutely phenomenal golf. The guy is super talented, and he'll be a force to be reckoned with as the year goes by, especially if he goes to live, which will be super fun for him. I did want to also mention our Canadian Stephen Ames was leading the tournament for the Champions Tour on Sunday, really late. Ended up faltering a tiny bit and ended up in 2nd place. Ernie Els was able to pass him. The Big Easy from South Africa got the win, but Stephen Ames has won on the tour already a couple times this year. 2nd place, still fantastic. Great to see how well he's still playing and earning a ton of money too.
Yeah, no, it's cool that he's still doing well, still relevant, and still making a ton of cash.
Yeah,
good for him.
It's awesome. Bernhard Longer and David Duval tied for 3rd. A really electric leaderboard there. In the women's US Open, Yuka Tsunoda won the women's US Open. The #1 player in the world, Nelly Korda, she had won 5 tournaments in a row coming in, had a really phenomenal year. She comes up to a par 3 hole earlier in the tournament and hit it into a creek. And then she dropped it and hit it again, hit it into the creek again, dropped it again, hit it into the creek again. She ended up getting a 10 on a par 3 +7 on 1 hole, and basically ruined her tournament on 1 hole. One lousy creek just kept sucking the ball into it, and it was like, yeah, we've all been there, but it's kind of weird to see the #1 player in the world have those kind of struggles.
Very weird. Very weird. And it's unfortunate for her because I think as soon as she probably hit the 2nd one into the water, she's like, yeah, not my day to day. Not my day to day. All right.
Yeah, it was like Tin Cup
No.
when he did it, and that was so bizarre. Lexi Thompson, one of the top players, top American players on the LPGA tour, decided she has had enough and retired in a very emotional press conference. Shocked the world. She's one of the top golfers on the planet, and said she just can't handle the anxiety, can't handle the pressure, decided that she's walking away from the sport. I don't know if this is just forever, but really, really, really stunned the golfing world, walking away, as one of the top players, and just said she just can't handle it. Too much anxiety, too much pressure, just hates it, and just doesn't want to deal with it anymore.
Surprising. And she's probably been battling this for a long time. Probably been seeing sports psychiatrists and all those other things that professional athletes do to get their head right. And maybe nothing has worked up to this point where she's just finally like, you know what? This is not fun for me anymore. This is just a total drag, and I'm not into it. So
yeah, it was really weird. Yeah, strange, but good on her. I hope she gets the help she needs and wants, and moves on to something that makes her happier and gives her less anxiety and stress. So, she's a fantastic golfer, great to watch. If you're hating life, don't do something that's bothering you this much. I was going to mention some MLS. I'll probably just mention Lionel Messi scored his 12th goal in his 12th game. But him being kind of a puke and not coming here to Vancouver, I don't really want to elaborate too much on it. So let's get on to the UFC. We had a phenomenal card lined up. UFC 302 from New Jersey. I was very excited about this card, and it delivered at times, but it really didn't deliver as much as we kind of thought it would. And so, it's a little, I do have to say that, I was a tad disappointed that it didn't deliver what, on paper it was supposed to, but the main event was a fight that I'm going to remember for a really long time. They've called Islam Makhachev the champion, the #1 pound for pound fighter on the planet, and he proved that he is still the best. But Dustin, the Diamond Poirier, gave him probably the most trouble that almost anybody ever has, and really had a phenomenal showing. And it turned out to be a pretty epic title fight.
It was awesome. Like I love the Diamond. I love Poirier. I love watching him fight. And it's the fact that, that first round where you're just like, oh, Makhachev got him to the ground. I don't know, man. Like I thought I was just gonna be like, I'm gonna just see a bunch of this and it's gonna be dominated and it's gonna be over.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't like that.
No.
He got him in the first round, but then in the second, third, like Dustin Poirier's takedown defense was on another level. It was on another level. I was so impressed with the fact that he was able to stay on his feet and keep this Dagestani guy from taking him down to the mat over and over and over again. That's what impressed me the most.
Yeah.
The fact that he was there to bang, he was there to fight. And also too, in that fourth round where Makhachev tried to take Dustin down, he landed awkwardly and hurt his left leg. Right. But in the fifth round, where he did, I would have to say that was one of the most creative and greatest takedowns to set up the finish that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible because you knew that Dustin wasn't expecting a takedown of that kind of nature because it was completely different because he leg whipped him and whipped his left leg up into the air and then was able to scramble around and get him from behind and secure that Darce choke in seconds.
Yeah.
It was just, I was just so super impressed by that. But the fact that he actually targeted the leg that was hurt of Dustin's as well to get him down to the ground. I'm like, wow, man, like that guy He has it all. He has the brains, he has the know-how, he has the knowledge, and he has the will. Like he's, yeah.
Islam, does really blow me away. He's not, one of the goats yet, but he's really, putting together a resume that's going to be held up against a lot of the top fighters of all time. He's going to be, in that category as one of the best lightweights of all time for sure.
Yep.
But just some of the absolute will and desire and just the constant relentless pursuit of the victory, was not being able to secure the takedowns like he normally has been and a lot of his other opponents. But you're right, that creativity that he displayed and showed to secure that final takedown that led to the submission victory was spectacular. And there's going to be jiu-jitsu coaches all over the planet suddenly trying to emulate that now and try to employ that to their students. And there's going to be a very, very minimal amount of students that are going to be able to do this because it was just so creative and so legendary. It might be called a Makhachev one day. We see the Kimura that he tried early on, named after Kimura, and so for Dustin to be able to withstand the early Kimura try, and then being dominated in that first round on the ground, but him to get the to be able to stuff these takedowns, figure out how to keep the fight on the feet, and land some great shots. That elbow that he landed on the forehead that cut him was really telling, and I think started to give Dustin the thought that maybe he could sway the fight in his direction. But a really, really, really amazing title fight. I know Dustin was gutted because he had his family there. He had his daughter there for the first time. This was, his third opportunity at a title fight, and hasn't been successful in the other undisputed title fights. And so, he was starting to lean towards maybe, I might be done here, but I don't think he should be. I think he's still spectacular fighter, one of the best. I think he'll be able to get huge paydays against a lot of really, really amazing fighters that are out there. And I would hate for him to end it with this fight.
It would suck because I love watching him fight. Every time I watch him fight, I know it's must see.
Yeah.
Like he's going to deliver. It's going to be entertaining. I know that for a fact. And so just for a purely selfish standpoint, I don't want him to retire. I want him to keep fighting.
Yeah.
But I understand if he says, you know what, I think this might be it, because he's probably looking at it going forward. Can I even get another shot at this belt now?
Yeah, I think that's something that he should just, put out of his mind and say, no big deal if I don't win the belt. But, I think that him on the marquee as the main event against many fighters would move the needle, would make him a huge amount of money, and just continue to cement a Hall of Fame legendary career. I think he fights a guy like Nate Diaz. I think he fights a guy like Colby Covington. I think he fights many, many, many guys. I think Jovanovski offered to put his hand up and said, hey, let's have an epic fight. Imagine how much we could make and how much we could move the needle with a fight like that. I think he's just reached that pinnacle where he could make tens of millions of dollars on each fight. I think this is legacy money. This is money for grandkids of grandkids, and I think he could do 2 or 3 more that would just blow the doors off of Gates and just move that needle, like I said many times.
Yeah, man. He could definitely do that. Don't know if his heart's into it, though.
Right.
Because, if there's one thing that was very telling to me was when he was limping out of the cage, because the man's an absolute warrior. but he was still reassuring his daughter that dad's okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, if she's listening, that is super tough. Dad's always good. Okay.
Yeah.
That man is always going to be okay. All right. Like,
Yeah.
he's an absolute legend. He's a stud. I hope he decides to stick around and, like you said, put on these major events and make himself a ton of money, because he's worth every penny. I think the UFC absolutely knows that. But if he does decide to call it quits, happy trails, my friend. You have given us so much joy and fun just from watching you fight. So if you decide to call it quits, hey, hats off to you. You've had one hell of a career. One hell of a career.
Yeah, no, he should not hang his head in shame whatsoever. He lost to, the title fights to Khabib, Islam, and Charles Oliveira, 3 Hall of Famers and 3 of the best of all time. So, good on him to keep working at it and trying and being in the mix for these fights for many years. And yeah, I just got nothing but praise for Dustin Poirier. And man, his daughter was so cute there. She's wiping away tears because her dad lost. And it was nice of him to acknowledge his grandmother, his mother, his wife, and his daughter, the 4 women in his life that have really got him to where he was and he is. And it was pretty touching, I thought, to see him come out of the cage and embrace them and say, I'm good. I'm good. You don't have to worry. I'm good.
Yeah, I know. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome that he pays praise to those people that made him who he is.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what he said. So I just have a ton of respect for the man.
Yeah.
Ton of respect for Dustin Poirier. And plus, on top of that, he doesn't drop in the rankings. If anything, because of that performance, he should actually go up.
Right.
If there is a chance for him to go up, he should go up, because that was amazing.
Yeah.
Because he gave Makhachev all the problems he could handle. Like, that's just as much as the first Volkanovski fight.
Yeah.
That's what I compare it to.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Definitely. There's a lot of revisionist history when we see fighters and they see a guy go on a little bit of a title defense. Islam has now tied the record for the most title defenses at lightweight, which is 3. That's, to me, that's, you can't say that that's unbelievable. 2 against Jovanovski and 1 against Poirier here. So great, good on him, but you better knock down a whole bunch more if you want to get into this GOAT conversation. He said he wants to fight Leon Edwards next. That's where he wants to go at. I think the UFC doesn't really have a lot of legs to stand on to say that you can't, but I think Sarukian is the guy that I think they should put him up against now. And if he can knock him out or is able to defeat him, then I think he should be able to call his shot and move up, or go wherever he feels like.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with you, because the next opponent that he's going to face is Sarukian. It's got to be Sarukian.
I hope so.
So if he can beat him, and by the way, that might be his toughest test to date.
Yeah.
That guy might be it.
Yeah.
So if he can get past him, then I would be more willing to entertain the thought of him fighting whoever the champ is at 170 at that point in time.
Yeah.
But for right now, no, I don't think so. And then plus on top of that, the GOAT debate of like where he ranks and stuff. Sorry, man, like you're not even close.
No.
Like you're not. He's not even close. It's like you got John Jones, you got GSP. No, man. Sorry, you're not there. Not in that conversation. Not yet.
GSP had 9 consecutive title defenses, 13 title wins in his career.
Okay.
And the Murderer's Row right from there. He was, just absolutely incredible. Anderson Silva, his title run was 2,457 days. 16 consecutive wins
Yeah.
and 10 title defenses at light heavyweight. And he was going up, or he was fighting at he was fighting at light heavyweight
Middleweight.
and middleweight, bouncing back and forth quite a bit too. So
Yeah.
it was an incredible run. John Jones has never lost other than getting a disqualification loss against Matt Hamill. He had 11 title defenses, ended up winning the belt 3 separate times because he got stripped from idiocy and stupid shit that he had done. And then he takes 3 years off and he comes up and he wins the heavyweight belt. So, those 3 guys, it's going to take a while for Islam to be in that category as one of the greatest of all time, but he's on the way. He's not, they've set him up. He's knocked him down. He's set him up. He's knocked him down. It's pretty historic career already. But yeah, give it a few years and many more defenses. And we'll start entertaining that thought that maybe you could get in that conversation.
Yeah, like if he does this for literally another 3 years straight.
Yeah.
3 years straight.
Yeah.
That's what he's got to do to get into this conversation because he's not in it right now. But if he does it for another 3, you hear me, Islam? Another 3 years, then maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Dana White was asked in the post-fight press conference if he was the best lightweight ever, and he said, no, not quite yet. And he said, I guess, pound for pound best, that's enough. And he goes, he's not the pound for pound best. John Jones is. And when I sort of dug a little deeper into that thought, I think that he's kind of, in a way, maybe mixing up with the best fighter, career-wise to this, because John Jones has fought 1 time in the past 4 years, and Islam's fought 8 times in that same time frame and been able to win all those fights. So right now, I would say Islam is number 1 pound for pound. When we're talking, long career and everything, John Jones is untouchable. But Dana White, maybe hyping up John Jones for a next fight and stuff. But to me, Islam is number 1 right now. Number 1
because he's been busier. He's been the more active fighter.
Yeah.
Like literally, he's been the more active fighter.
Sure.
I would say that I would agree with you currently right now. I would agree with you on that because I know what Dana was doing. Also, just being the promoter that he is and trying to hype the fight for Stipe. I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
But I also understood where the reporter's coming from saying it's about activity, Dana.
Yeah.
It's about activity. And that guy's been active. And that other guy hasn't.
Has not. Yeah.
No.
They had 17,834 in attendance and had a gate of 7.25 million. I think Powhatan actually had the biggest roar of the crowd, even higher than Donald Trump. Kind of surprised that a Brazilian would get the biggest roar of the crowd out of all the celebrities that were sitting around cage side.
Who was that again? Who did you say that got the
Alex
biggest?
Pereira, Powhatan.
Oh, Powhatan. Okay, yeah. With him, I always find it funny. Like whenever I see him on TV, I'm like, I don't think the man's ever smiled. I don't think he knows how to. Like he's always looks like he's like, I'm just ready to destroy somebody at any point in time.
Yeah.
If you touch me, you're getting hit. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of face he has. But yes, he got a big cheer from the New Jersey crowd. New Jersey at that as well. It's kind of weird. Yeah. And then also too, I want to say this. In the crowd, they pointed out, who was it? Jersey Shore people. Remember that show, Jersey Shore? And I'm like,
yeah.
Then I'm like, that's still relevant?
No.
Really?
No. No. No, they had their 15 minutes of fame a decade ago, at least. A long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, you guys are still around?
Oh, yeah. Cool. I was surprised they could even get cage side seats. Like maybe they're still super popular around that area. They walk around, people, oh, holy cow, It's the
Yeah.
Jersey Shore people. Yeah, they're not relevant anymore anywhere else outside of New Jersey.
No. They're definitely not. Also, too, I wanted to say just another quick aside for the Makhachev Poirier fight. After the fight was done, I love that Habib gave his props to Poirier.
Yeah,
Came over, talked to him and stuff.
loved it.
And like that's ultimate respect.
That was class. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
class.
And I don't see class from many Russians, but that was actually sportsmanship and class, and yeah,
Very classic.
it was
Classic
great.
move.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. They had the highest grossing gate in arena history there that night, and they passed the Rolling Stones concert from 2012 to get that record. Pretty incredible. That fight did get fight of the night. Both guys got 50K, but they also gave a second bonus to Islam, so he got 100 extra K for that performance. They only gave one other bonus throughout the entire night, and that was Kevin Holland. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But yeah, I was quite surprised. Yeah, that they only handed out 200K.
I am not surprised.
Okay.
Like when you take into consideration the card and just kind of how it played out, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I get that. I get it.
Right.
They could have given. Did they give Holland they gave Holland one, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah. So,
Yeah.
like who they gave it to, yeah, that made sense. That made sense to me.
Yeah. I don't think there was one knockout on the entire card. I don't think there was zero. So that's kind of brutal and not great.
No.
I wondered myself, these new gloves that they utilized, could that have changed this fight card at all? Do you think it had any impact whatsoever on it?
How about this? How many eye pokes were there?
There was a few.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like that was the whole point of these new gloves.
Yeah.
The gloves were supposed to try to limit the eye poking, and it's still happening. So I'm like, okay, so that didn't work out so well. I don't know. How about this? We're gonna have to see a couple more events with these new gloves to see like if it's actually affecting the fighters. But I honestly thought that the eye pokes would be a lot less.
Yeah.
It didn't really happen.
Didn't really happen, yeah, unfortunately. Okay, let's talk about the co-main event. I don't want to talk about it too long because I almost fell asleep during it. It was a sparring session. It was a really boring fight that Sean Strickland seems to like to have. He employs a style that isn't really that fun and enjoyable to watch, but it is effective. And for some reason, Paulo Costa got lured into it. He had said that he was going to fight like the Eraser from before, and he was going to just go balls to the wall and knock out Strickland, and that wasn't the case. Strickland just walked him down, kept him on the back foot, and kept utilizing that rolling shoulder, his movement, kept him at distance, and it was just sparring. It wasn't really a fight until maybe the last 15-20 seconds, maybe. But like, what the heck what happened to Costa? It just seemed like he just really wasn't into it.
Well, you know what? The first round, you could see what he was setting up for, which was to take out that lead leg.
Yeah.
Hard calf kicks. I think it was like 3 or 4 in a row. Sure. Hard calf kicks. So I'm like, okay, so we see how he wants to set up his offense, right?
Right.
But then Strickland, to his credit, adapted super quick and started marching forward, bringing up his legs up high so he could block those kicks, so he can start checking those kicks. And eventually, when he did start to check those kicks, Costa was being affected big time.
Right.
Big time.
Yeah.
And I think it threw him off his game. I think it literally, him being able to check those kicks as much as he did, threw him off his game. And then there was one, especially, I want to say it was in the 4th round, where Costa threw a hard kick. Strickland checked it, and Costa was just like, oh, like you could tell he was physically hurt.
He was in a lot of pain from it. Yeah.
Yeah, he got a lot of, and then all of a sudden he was just, I think him being able to check his kicks threw Costa off his game, and Strickland, you know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Philly shell defense, piston-like jab, and he's just going to work that. And, hey, he got the win, man. Did what he needed to do.
It was brutal that Costa didn't make any changes. His corner wasn't able to make changes. At one point, I think it was after the third round, they told him that he was up 2-1. So that was brutal. I'm not sure why this was a 5-round fight, but his corner was messing up, telling him that. And then this fight ends up going to a decision. And
split.
One of the judges decides that Costa wins this fight. And if he's not fired immediately, there should be an investigation going on, because that was just one of the most atrocious results of a decision that I've ever seen. Nobody on the planet that watches that fight intensely thinks that Costa won that. No possible way. So I don't know how he does. And it was crazy when they said split. Strickland turned around and was like, "Are you effing kidding me?" And you know, all of us were just like stunned. What? Are you kidding me? That was just a whitewash. It should have been 5-0 and, you know, walk home 50-45, see you later, right? So that wasn't cool at all.
No, it was concerning.
Yeah.
It was egregious, and it's concerning, because what the UFC should actually be doing with these judges that have these anomalous scorecards that don't make any sense would be like, yeah, you're not judging anymore.
Yeah.
No more of our events. Like, just a one and done. Like, it's just like, you look at their scorecard, you're like, I don't know what you were watching. Okay, you're done. Like, it's just like, it's done. You can't judge our sport correctly. So you can't judge it at all.
You gotta go,
You gotta go.
His name is Dave Torelli. He's been around a long time. He also messed up the very first fight of the night, which was Andre Lima getting a split decision victory over Mitch Raposo. He gave the fight to Raposo, and it was ridiculous. I know you didn't see that one, but it was like, wow, weird. This is starting off the card strangely. And then, you know, for the co-main event, for him to be in there for the co-main event and just mess this up. The other one judge had it 50-45, and that was Sal Diamato and Chris Lee. No, Chris Lee had it 50-45. Sal Diamato had it 49-46. And so it was that just, you know, it left a sour taste in my mouth that you know, one of the judges could have messed this up, and it would have been outrageous if Strickland didn't get the win. Even though I'm not a fan of Strickland, he definitely 100% won this fight.
Oh yeah, he won the fight easily, going away. And I know when I heard the judge's scorecards, I was like, what? Like, it should never have been a split decision.
No, not at all. Costa ended up landing only 8 head strikes in the first 3 rounds, and his corner said he was up 2-1. He was focusing in on the body shots and that calf kick, and when it was obvious to us and, you know, everybody else that was watching that he was losing, I can't believe he didn't change his style. He didn't unleash, he didn't open up. He just accepted defeat, and it was the number 1 contender against number 7, which was, you know, going to be kind of a mismatch if you go by rankings, and this just ended up being that way. It was really a mismatch. Costa, I don't know what's wrong with him. Ever since he lost that title fight to Adesanya, he's really just not the same guy, and I don't know. I think he needs to go quite far down in the rankings and fight guys, you know, that are around that, you know, maybe 12 to 15 range, because this was a horrible performance.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. Like, ever since he lost to Adesanya, it's like he lost his mojo, he lost his juice, he lost his magic. So I don't know if he's ever going to be able to find it again.
Yeah, might not be able to, no. Okay, we mentioned Kevin Holland. Great performance by him. He got a 50K performance bonus for it. Uh, this was this is a little bit of controversy because
Uh,
they're not calling. There was no actual tap. As far as I ever saw, but Herb Dean's in there. He sees it. Either his arm either breaks or it
it's
dislocates,
okay.
and
Or
you
both.
see something. When you're in that close, you can see a movement that shouldn't be, and stop it. Ola Chaychek went like, "Hey, what the hell? I didn't tap." But he couldn't move his arm after. So, you know, I don't think, to me it should be controversial, but on social media and a lot of people talking about it said, hey, why did it get stopped?
Well, then those people are idiots. Like, what do you want? Like, did you want his arm to touch over here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you want it bent back to here? Like, so it's touching his armpit? Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
His arm was broken or dislocated or both, and Herb D did his job. Which is like, well, you're too tough for your own good. That's awesome, but the fight's over. You've
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
For me, it was just a no brainer. Like the fight is over. He's lost. Like his arm is completely busted or dislocated. It is absolutely compromised. Fight's over.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. I think he made a few mistakes to get into that position, but Holland was like a dog on a bone. He
Oh,
was not letting go of that arm, and it didn't matter. They could have been laying there for the next 3 minutes. He was going to keep manipulating it and turning it and
yep.
twisting it until he was going to tap, or it was definitely gone. He's going to rip it off. And so it was a very impressive win for him against a really tough guy. Holland ended up calling himself the sport's best gatekeeper. Keep them coming, keep them coming. I'll keep knocking them down. I'll rip their arms off. And he also said it felt like I was the Chihuahua that be able to beat the pit bull tonight. And I love it when he takes the mic and he says fun stuff like that. And yeah, it was entertaining and it was pretty damn impressive. Very, very big victory for him.
Huge victory because the way that he even ended up in that position was because Mikhail blasted him to the mat with I
Knocked
think
him
with the
down.
left. He
Yeah.
knocked him down.
Yeah.
But Holland was able to collect his wits, threaten with those long limbs of his, with those legs, looking for a triangle, converted to an armbar, and then like a dog on a bone, wouldn't let it go. By the way, I think he was actually being a complete sportsman because when he did finally, dislocate his arm, he didn't manipulate the arm by going back and forth as well.
Right.
He just did it straight back. That's him being a sportsman. Because if he had done this, that's a lot more injury to Olachechek.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, very impressive. After he had 2 straight losses. Nice for him to get his 13th UFC win, and yeah, I'm sure we'll see him very soon. I think Mikhail will take quite a while to recover from that injury, and so we might not see him the rest of this year. The welterweight fight that happened before that had Nico Price and Alex Morono in a rematch. Price got the victory over Morono back I think it was about 7 years ago. Knocked him out. It was overturned to a no contest because he tested positive for marijuana. And, we all know that that's not performance enhancing drugs, which, should be the reason why you get suspended. The US has their laws, and the UFC adapted that, and some guys have lost their wins. Price was able to get that victory finally over Morono. Now it's in the books. It's good. These two guys are, to me, they're not the greatest fighters. They're slow, they're plodding, they're awkward. They're, Morono especially doesn't look athletic at all. But they've forged themselves some pretty decent careers. and Nico was able to get this. Morono, I thought, won the first round,
Yep,
gassed out a little bit,
gassed
and
out.
then Price was able to take those last 2 rounds and get his hand raised.
That's exactly what happened because Morono took this fight on short notice.
Right.
So he did not have a full fight camp. And you could tell that his cardio was just not there. It was not there where it usually is because he was crisp. He was with it. He had great movement in the first round. And all of that began going away as the fight wore on. And Nico was able to find him more easily with his strikes because he was getting tired. And by the end of that fight, Morono was absolutely, utterly exhausted. And Price was not. And then that was the difference.
Yeah. I heard an interview with Eddie Alvarez today, and he said, you got to think of fighting like this. He said, you go into a fight and you're a black belt at jiu-jitsu, karate, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, the first round, a guy wrestles with you, gets you down, jiu-jitsu moves, and you start getting tired and you get exhausted from the movements, trying to get back up, and you're wrestling. You go from a black belt in the first round to about a blue belt in the second round because you're tired, you're gassed. That's what a blue belt would look like coming out. And you go through that again in a second round, and it's almost all wrestling, jiu-jitsu, grappling. You go down to a white belt in the third round coming out, and you don't have the skills. You don't have the ability to knock a guy out anymore. You don't have crispness on your punches. You don't have, gas in your tank to do all the things that you've risen to in your career. And these guys, like these Dagestani fighters like Islam, are able to grind you out. And as the fight wears on, your abilities start dropping way, way down.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because once that gas tank starts getting drained, you start making mental mistakes because you're physically tired, and that's what's going to happen. And that's what happened to Morono. Like, he was physically tired. Like, you could tell that he was absolutely getting exhausted, and that's because he didn't have a full fight camp.
Yeah. Price had only had 4 wins in his last 11 fights coming into this, so he was kind of in jeopardy. He came off that 38-second KO to Robbie Lawler, UFC 290, and he's only 8-7 now in the UFC, so really sort of teetering on the brink of maybe not having a UFC career anymore. Morono is 13-7, and he might regret taking this fight on short notice because maybe he gets this victory if he's got a gas tank that kept a lot more full than it ended up being.
Yeah, he might have got this win if he had a full fight camp, but he's taken this risk before, and it's been successful for him. But unfortunately, for this particular time, it was not. So
yeah. The fight that kicked off the main card had one of your homeland compatriots, Randy Rude Boy Brown, got a really fantastic victory. He survived an early onslaught, rear naked choke attempts, and was really in a lot of trouble in that second round. He had to reverse it and got some control. He controlled the third round and got his hand raised. I thought he won the first round with some big knees. Then Santos won that second round, really had him in a lot of compromising positions. He was able to survive that, got the control of that third round, and got a really big victory over a super tough guy.
Super tough guy because some of those knees he hit Dos Santos with in the first round, I thought that should have knocked him out.
Yeah,
should have. But that guy's got it.
Most everybody gets knocked out from it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the man's got a chin made of granite. But Brown managed to keep upright in the third round, which is what won him the fight. And but a good fight though.
Yeah.
Good competitive fight.
Very fun fight. Yeah. Brown's now 13-5 in the UFC. Really, really, really great UFC career. He called out Jeff Neal. Love that fight. I hope the UFC can make that happen.
Oh no, that's a great call up. Great call up.
Okay. The fight that was the feature fight on the prelims had Roman Kopylov against Cesar Almeida. Almeida comes in as a prospect, still 5-0 in his mixed martial arts career. He was an incredible kickboxer. I think he had 47 kickboxing fights. Actually fought Poatan Alex Pereira 3 times in kickboxing. Won one of those 3, but faced all the top guys in the in kickboxing world. Came in, and Kopylov, his strength is the knockout. He's knocked out, I think it's 12 out of his 13 victories have come by the way of knockout. But him and his team decided, no, that's not the game plan against this guy. We're going to take this fight to the ground, and we're going to grind out this victory smartly. He did so, got the win. I was super impressed. This is a guy that really loves the striking, loves the stand-up. Definitely has not employed, submissions and a ground game, so far in his MMA career, but knew that this was the path to victory and took it and got the win.
Path of least resistance, right? And he looked good at the same time in the stand-up, but Almeida was beginning to figure him out in the later rounds,
right?
Because Kopylov was getting tired from the grappling.
Right.
But here's the problem with Almeida: he has absolutely no grappling technique, no takedown defense. Yeah. It was very easy, and like a lot of those shots that Kopylov done, they were so obvious that he was going to shoot, and Almeida still couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't well-rounded his game enough for him to take on elite competition yet. Kopylov had 5 takedowns, more than 8.5 minutes of control time there. Almeida landed more strikes in every round, but that control that Kopylov had ended up giving him the split decision as well. 2 judges gave it to Kopylov, 1 to Almeida. I actually kind of thought that maybe the second and third round should have went to Almeida because, he landed the more dangerous shots. When it was on the ground, there wasn't, as much damage done. But as I said, two of the judges gave it to Kopylov, and he got the victory.
Yeah, he got the victory. And yeah, you could definitely tell that he was going positioning over striking for a lot of those, especially in the second and third, especially the third round.
Yeah. Okay. We had the heavyweight battle between Jailton Almeida and Alexander Romanov. Almeida is one of the specimens out there. Incredible strength, and he was able to get an early takedown, sink in some hooks, and went for some rear naked chokes. He was just really just on him quickly to try to go for it. He was able to finally sink it in, get on top, and get the win. A very impressive performance by Almeida.
Very impressive. I was very impressed with his takedown of the bigger man, because that is a hard thing to do. He got him down to the mat, and then he was able to exert his will on him. When he got his back, it was just a matter of time.
Yeah,
he was just patient, and then once he got his opportunity to get the rear naked choke and sink it in, he sunk it in quick, and there was a quick tap. Game over.
Yeah, game over real quick. Okay, talk about the Grant Dawson-Joe Selecki fight. Dawson ended up getting the unanimous decision, 30-27 on 2 cards, 29-28 on 1. Good takedowns and top control for Dawson. Was able to get the win here.
Yeah, that's what it was all about for Dawson. He just had to get past Selecki's guillotine attempt for quite some time in the first round in the beginning because he got threatened with that. But after that, Dawson dominated him.
Yeah.
Dominated him. And Selecki never showed a real desperation to try to get back to his feet.
Get up, yeah.
Yeah, like he just didn't do that, and that's why he lost the fight.
Yeah. Dawson lost to Bobby Green on his last fight. That's the only loss he's had in 11 UFC fights. 9 1-1 in his UFC career. And yeah, he's a very, very dominant guy in his grappling, and was he was definitely supposed to win this fight, and I thought he was super dominant throughout. Okay, Jake Matthews got a nice decision victory over Philip Rowe. This Celtic kid is really super, super tough. I thought Rowe was very accurate early and got some nice shots in. But then I really liked the way Matthews was able to get a lot of takedowns, control, and grinded out a unanimous decision victory here.
Yeah, and then I was also impressed with the way that he worked. He was able to get close and work within Rowe's reach and
Right.
get his strikes off as well.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with that, with his creativity and his approaches to get in there. Because he still had to take some shots.
Yeah.
Because Rowe was still a very accurate striker. But Matthews really had to go through the fire to get this win, and he did that. Great win.
Yeah. Definitely the reach advantage was to Rowe, but he waded into the fire and landed a lot of great shots. Was the busier fighter on the feet, and was able to also control it when it hit the ground. So, and did you see the Mickey Gall Basil Perez Hafez fight?
I only saw like literally the last 3 minutes of the third round.
Okay.
And it looked like it was a war. It looked like it was very, very competitive, but that's about all I could see. That's all I saw.
I've never thought of Mickey Gall as a good MMA fighter. He had a couple of wins early in his career in the UFC that seemed to make people think that he was better than he was. He beat CM Punk. He beat Sage Northcott, who was kind of one of these prospects that everybody thought was going to be, eventually a world title challenger. But I think he was on this card because he's a New Jersey guy. And they brought him in, a hometown guy. He had been cut from the UFC about 2 years ago. He fought in a different promotion. His last fight, they decided to give him a chance here. He's still not very good, and I don't know if he's going to be, in the UFC very long. But it was as they call, a slobber knocker. Both guys were throwing heavy hands, a lot of damage, not a lot of defense from both. Both were in trouble at times, and Basil was able to be the guy that just landed a bit more damaging strikes and had Gall in a little more trouble there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he was able to. Yeah, there was, like you said, not a lot of defense on both guys' parts. That's at least that's what I saw in that last round. Yeah. And it was just they were just trying to bang it out for the win, and Hafez managed to get in more shots, more accurate, more effective shots than Gall.
Yeah. That was it. As I mentioned, the Andre Lima decision was right, but I couldn't believe that David Chiarelli gave Raposo the nod in that decision. But let's hope we hear in the next coming days that Chiarelli is moving on to something else. Maybe he's got to go to boxing or choose, ping pong or something. But this is not the sport for you. Please resign and make us all happy, because you should not be judging these MMA fights anymore. We have another card coming up this Saturday. This is UFC Fight Night. We've got Jared Cannonier against Nasruddin Imavov. Cannonier is always super entertaining. Imavov as well. Yeah, should be a really good main event.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Styles make fights. Those two styles couldn't be any different from each other.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one. That's going to be a very, very good technical fight.
I'm looking forward to the Dominic Reyes, Dustin Jacoby co-main event. It should be a banger. Both guys throw a lot of heavy leather.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to go to a decision. I think that's going to be a very competitive fight. But I would be going with Jacoby on that one because I think he's on the rise, and unfortunately Reyes is on the downfall. So.
That's right. Yeah, definitely. Julian Marquez, Zachary Reese should be a great fight. Dustin Stolfus, Bruno Ferreira should be good. Thiago Moises and Ludovic Klein, the feature fight on the prelim, should be an absolute banger.
Yeah, that's a great prelim fight. Fantastic.
We got a Canadian, Brad Katona, in a bantamweight fight against Jesse Butler. I like Cantona, always have, and yeah, he always brings it. Should be fun to watch.
Should be a great fight to watch, and he's actually very skilled in all aspects of MMA.
Yeah. I even like the second fight of the night, Cody Stamann, Taylor Lapalus. Yeah, should be a good fight night. Lots of interesting matchups. Yeah, it should deliver quite a bit of entertainment.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to watching that this weekend coming up.
Just a couple of boxing notes before we go. Deontay Wilder got knocked out on Saturday in Saudi Arabia against Jaylee Zhang. Zhang came in. He outweighed him by 68.2 pounds when they stepped on scales on Friday.
Nice.
That is outrageous. That is a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Zhang is 41 years old, but was the better man on this night. Zhang hurt him pretty heavily in rounds 2 and round 3. Wilder landed some pretty good shots, probably the best shots of the fight in round 5. And I think it gave him some confidence that he could turn this tide in his favor and get the victory. Zhang ended up landing a glancing blow across the face of Wilder. I don't know exactly what was going through his mind, but it seemed to stun him, and he looked over at the referee to like say something, but he turned his back, and Zhang used that opportunity to throw a shot, hit him as he had his back a bit turned, crumpled him, put him to the canvas. He did survive the 10 count, but when he started trying to stagger out of the corner, the referee realized he wasn't there, called off the fight, and gave Zhang the victory. How the mighty have fallen. Wilder taking another devastating loss, and this could be it for him.
Yeah, how the mighty have fallen for real. Because now he's lost to, well, Zhang, I think that was calculated for him to come in that much heavier than Wilder. So he could use his superior size and power to do exactly what he did. And who was the other fighter that he lost to? Do you remember?
He's lost quite a few in the last thing. I can look real quick, but yeah, he's on a bad streak lately.
He's been on a bad streak, and that all of that started once he lost to his trilogy fight to Fury. Yeah. And then after that, like, he just wasn't the same fighter.
Joseph Parker is the
Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't the same fighter. And you know what? Sometimes that happens with heavyweights, where it's just like, you know what? You're on a meteoric rise. You're at the top. You're at the top. You're at the top. Then all of a sudden, it just falls apart.
Yeah.
Falls apart because you've taken too many headshots from too many big, powerful men that are the best at doing that. Yeah. And then your body just can't withstand the punishment anymore. It happens. So maybe Wilder now has to look at the fact that maybe he only has a couple more fights left in his career, and then he has to maybe call it quits. Because if you can't fight the top 5 guys in the heavyweight rankings, you can't be relevant anymore. Then maybe it's time to hang him up. Because at least the good thing with Wilder is he's made a lot of money,
A lot of money.
a
Yeah.
lot of money. So that's a good thing. He's built himself up like a great nest egg. So if he has to call it quits, he's going to be good to go.
He's in March the 3rd, 2018, he beats Luis Ortiz by knockout. He's 40-0. Then he fights Tyson Fury, and they have a draw. He wins the next 2, so he's 42-0-1. Then he loses to Fury twice in a row, beats Robert Helenius, and then he's lost his last 2 fights to Joseph Parker and Zhilei Zhang. So he's lost 4 out of his last 5. And 40-0, now he's 43-4. Yeah, it's crazy. You're right. You're just taking punishment from these big men for this many years, and you suffer a couple of knockouts, and he's also 38 years old, a big man, 6'6", 215 pounds, and it's just maybe he retires now. Maybe we see him in another 1 or 2 fights, but it's just definitely not the same guy that we remember on his historic run up to the belts that he held.
Yeah, no, definitely not the same guy. Definitely not the same guy that put Fury down in that first fight, knocked him down, thought he'd won the fight, to be honest with you. Yeah. Until Fury popped up like the Undertaker and then took it away from him.
Changed his whole life. Yeah.
His whole life.
Yes. Yeah. Just maybe like 2 or 3 more seconds and his life's completely different.
Completely
Unbelievable, huh? Just
yeah.
2 or 3 seconds in somebody's life can change it that much. It's amazing. Okay, we've been talking off and on about Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul. That fight has now been postponed. Mike Tyson was found to have a severe ulcer that has been causing us some health issues and problems. They've decided that they will scrap the July 20th fight date for now, and no makeup date has been made. Not sure what's going to happen, but right now that fight is off.
That's good. Mike's an older guy now, and his health comes first. So if that's what it is, that's what it is. Maybe they reschedule it. What do you think are the chances of them actually rescheduling this fight? I don't think it's strong. I don't think it's good.
No, I don't. I don't think it's strong either. No, I kind of was always pretty skeptical and unsure if this would ever take place, and this is kind of throwing some more cold water on it.
Yeah. I agree.
They have announced the rematch date for Fury Usyk. It's supposed to be Saturday, December 21st in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. That, of course, comes after the heels of Usyk beating Fury in a split decision last month. And we were talking about October. Now it's going to be the first day of winter, December 21st.
That should be enough time for both fighters to be completely healed up and ready to go. I like it. That's good. I look forward to seeing it. But more importantly, I'm looking forward to seeing the changes that both men are going to make to their boxing plans against the other. Like I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. One last thing, go back to the MMA world. Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler were supposed to hold their opening press conference today in Dublin, Ireland, and it was postponed, canceled for some reason. No reason has been divulged. Supposedly it's not a positive drug test. It's not some legal trouble like Conor's been in so much. Not sure why it's been postponed, but maybe their fight coming up is in jeopardy. I've been skeptical that that fight would take place, and maybe when we hear the results of why this fight's not taking place, maybe this fight gets postponed or won't happen at all. It's supposed to take place later this month, June 29th. And yeah, it's been anticipated for very, very, very long time. I don't know why this didn't happen, but it came as quite the surprise to most people that were expecting to see a press conference and Conor McGregor at his best, calling out Red Panty Day and lots of stuff. Yeah, disappointing that it didn't happen.
Disappointing, but I'm not surprised because it seems to me that Conor wants the notoriety, not the fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it seems like. So
yeah. Yeah, after they were the opposing coaches on The Ultimate Fighter, and they've been going back and forth for the last few years. Conor's trying to recover from his broken leg against Dustin Poirier, and then gets into the Roadhouse movie, and just waiting and waiting and waiting, and they divulged about, I think it was last month, where they said this was the highest grossing gate in UFC history. That's going to be over $20 million. And now it's in serious jeopardy, and yeah, it'll be brutal if this fight falls off the map. And we've got Macy Chiasson and Mayra Borna Silva as the co-main. Not exactly something that I'm super excited about. The co-main currently has Jamal Hill against Carlos Ulberg. It was supposed to be Khalil Roundtree. He had to pull out because of a positive drug test, and now Ulberg stepped in, and this card seems a little cursed, and it's only less than 4 weeks away.
Awesome. So but basically what it's telling us is this: if McGregor and Chandler don't headline, that's going to be a very low selling pay-per-view.
Yeah,
period.
Very much so.
Yeah. Not gonna make a lot of money on that one.
Not gonna be doing very good. Yeah. And it's International Fight Week, which is super big on the UFC's
and that's supposed to be their big one.
Year. It's the Hall of Fame, and tons and tons and tons of things. Conor's been saying that he wants to fight 3 more times this year. He's hoping to really get in a fight at the Sphere that's happening in September, and then fight in December. And so I don't know. I just really would like to know why this press conference didn't happen. They sold over 10,000 tickets to the press conference. They filled the arena up, and have had to disappoint everybody on this. And I think a lot of people are going to be kind of nervous to shell out big money for tickets live, or already just seeing this happen.
Yeah, it would be, you know what? It's exactly the same as selling out big money to see Lionel Messi didn't come.
Yeah.
It's going to be the exact same thing. It's like, you're going to take that risk, especially with the way that Conor is nowadays. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. I'm just like, I don't trust him, because if there's red flags going off, it should be right now, because that should have happened.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't.
Yeah, it's got to make Dana White and the UFC brass a little bit upset and worried about it. They had this. They said that this is going to be great. We're going to have press conferences around the world. You guys are going to get so hyped for this, and bam, first opportunity doesn't even happen. So that's the world of combat sports, though. And you're right. Conor McGregor has been more talk than he has been fight in the past few years, ever since he got super rich. So I would doubt it if this actually does happen this month.
He's worth over, I want to say, $550 million. Yeah. Okay. Where's your motivation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not much. Not much.
No. Well, man, this was awesome as always. I'm glad you were able to get another long weekend with that load management, and you finally have to show up, and all the people that have paid money to see you finally getting an opportunity to witness you in your full athletic glory tomorrow. And it'll be nice to cross paths with you after only a couple of days working together so far.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give the people a show. I'm going to give them their money's worth tomorrow. You betcha.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks a lot. As always, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yep, we'll see you tomorrow, man. Take care.
Cheers. All right, that was fun as always, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate the support as always. It was fun. I hope you had as much fun as Jason and I did. It was great that we got to cover the weekend of sports, and yeah, it was a UFC that we were excited about, and it delivered at times. The main event was great, and obviously Kevin Holland, phenomenal performance, but no knockouts, some really dumb decisions. That's always puts a bit of a damper on a great night. But anyway, we've got 5 UFC cards this month. Fingers crossed that Conor McGregor one does happen at the end of the month, and we can look back on 5 great cards. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate the support. We love you. We really want to always thank you for your support and your likes, your subscriptions, your passing on, and your great questions that you always or your great questions and comments that you always fire off to us. So I want to thank our partners and sponsors. I want to thank Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast. Just go to their website and you can do what Jason and I do here. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And of course, the V350 stick is what you need in your hockey midst. Pampas and Possibilities, they design West Coast beautiful things for your home. Get them involved and they will spruce it up, make you very happy that you did. And for Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products, get them on our website at discounted rates. We love them. You will too. Take care of yourself. Have a fantastic week ahead and we will talk soon. Bye for now.